Okay, hello everyone. Ang lecture natin ngayon pang positive psychology. I want to discuss the eudaimonic pleasure. So, key verse muna tayo for this lecture. Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance. As I go along, lagi ko namang ginagawa to, no? You will see paano to konektado sa eudaimonic pleasure. Ito yung mga goals ko for the lecture today. Number 1, how to experience long-term happiness. After all, this is positive psychology. We talk about happiness. Isa sa mga topics on happiness, paano ba yung pangmatagalang happiness? Siyempre, I assume lahat naman tayo dito gusto yung pangmatagalan compared to pang short-term na happiness lang. And the good news is, positive psychology research may sagot kung paano ba yung na-experience nating happiness is for long-term. And number 2, I'm going to correct misconception, a very big misconception about happiness. And this misconception is the reason why people are not getting the most out of their experience of happiness. Bakit karamihan ng mga tao yung happiness nila pang short-term lang? May kinalaman sa number 2. Meron kasi silang maling understanding about happiness, which I hope this lecture can correct. Okay? So, pag-usapan muna natin yung definition of pleasure. After all, itong topic na to, going back, eudaimonic pleasure is under the topic of pleasure in positive psychology textbooks. So, sabi ng APA, ang ibig sabihin ng pleasure, the emotion or sensation induced by the enjoyment or anticipation of what is felt or viewed as good or desirable. So, ang pleasure, isa itong emosyon. Or you can also say it's a sensation. Isa itong bagay na nararamdaman na very positive, nakaka-enjoy. You also connect the words good and desirable. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng pleasure. So, which means, halos lahat ng tao gusto yan. Wala akong kilalang tao na ayaw ng pleasure. So in general, human beings would like to experience this kind of sensation. Now, you might ask, bakit ba pinag-uusapan yung pleasure in positive psychology? Because in general, pleasure leads to happiness. Paulit-ulit yan na na-establish in different studies in positive psychology. The more pleasure you experience, mas tumataas yung level of happiness. Kaya ang unang insight na pwede nating matutunan dito is, paano mas sumaya? Again, that's the application of positive psychology. It's about well-being. One way to do it, you experience a lot of pleasure. So for those of you who are sad right now, yung mga malulungkot ngayon, isang first aid dyan, dapat makaranas ka ng pleasure. By doing that, in a way, tataas ang level of well-being. But there are 2 ways on how to experience pleasure. At dito ako magko-concentrate in my lecture, 2 approaches of experiencing pleasure. Number 1, pwedeng hedonic approach. Number 2, pwedeng eudaimonic approach. Ang focus natin ngayon is eudaimonic, but in so doing, may hit ko rin anong ibig sabihin ng hedonic approach. Ang ibig sabihin ng eudaimonic approach to happiness or to pleasure is, you give pleasure to your spirit. Okay, after all, yung root word ng word na eudaimonic from the word daimon is means spirit. Okay? So pag sinabi mong eudaimonic approach, if you're using the eudaimonic approach to become happy, it means you are giving pleasure to your spirit, your daimon. And this is very different from hedonic. Ang hedonic kasi, nagbibigay ka ng pleasure sa katawan mo. So magkaiba yon. Eudaimonic, you give pleasure to your spirit. Hedonic, you give pleasure to the physical, to your body. Okay? So in connection to eudaimonic approach, naalala ko dito yung experience ni Jesus in the desert when he was being tempted by the devil. 'Di ba sabi ng devil, alam niyang gutom na gutom ni si Jesus because he's fasting. If you are really the Son of God, you turn this stone into bread. And what does Jesus answer? Man shall not live by bread alone. Ang sinasabi ng devil, bigyan mo ng pleasure yung katawan mo. Busugin mo yung katawan mo. So when you eat food That's one way for you to make your body happy. Now, Jesus, ang sabi niya, man shall not live by bread alone, which means hindi lang yan yung paraan para mag-give pleasure sa sarili. Another way to give pleasure according to him is, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. If you notice, every word that comes from the mouth of God is something non-physical. Ang tinapay, physical. Bread can make the body happy. But other than the bread making the body happy, may isa pa. May isa pang way to give pleasure. The Word of God giving pleasure to the Spirit. Yun yung eudaimonic approach. So with that, happiness insight number 2, happiness goes beyond material things. That's what we can learn so far at this point. Na ang happiness ng tao, hindi lang puro material, hindi lang puro pagkain, hindi lang puro pera. There are certain things in life that are non-physical but can make a person happy. And those non-physical things, most of them, bakit siya nakakapagpataas ng well-being? Because it gives pleasure to the psyche or to the spirit. Okay? So, hindi lang laging dapat yung katawan yung pinapasaya natin para maging masaya tayo. By giving pleasure to our psyche, that will also lead an increase in our happiness. Kaya nga in connection to this, to support happiness insight number 2, paulit-ulit na sa mga studies to. Na hindi porkat marami kang pera, marami kang gamit, marami kang toys, quote and quote, ibig sabihin, happy ka. Many reports have already established na marami mga tao very wealthy, kumpleto sa gamit, wala silang physical needs, ang sasarap na mga kinakain, but their well-being is low. Marami merong anxiety disorder, marami diagnosed with clinical depression. Pero, punong-puno ng physical pleasure. What does that establish? Tama itong happiness insight number 2. Happiness goes beyond material things. Comfortable life is not equals to happy life. Unfortunately, in our culture, ito kasi yung one of the wrong teachings na sinasabi. Na kapag komportable yung buhay mo, basta marami kang pera, you have all the gadgets in the world, magiging masaya ka. And when people believe this, they internalize this, ito ngayon yung ina-apply nila. They run after material things. Yun nga yung problema. Material things are shown to only increase our well-being short term. Kaya maraming nadi-disappoint na tao when they apply this principle. 'Di ba? You will hear lines like, bakit ganon? Ang dami-dami ko namang pera. Lahat naman nasa akin na, pero bakit parang may kulang pa rin? Bakit hindi pa rin ako masaya? Disappointment 'yon. Bakit sila nadi-disappoint? Kasi nga mali yung ganitong teaching on happiness. Alright? So now let's be more specific. So how do you become happy the eudaimonic way? Paano ba magbigay pleasure sa spirit natin? Again, going back to Matthew, yung na-experience ni Kristo, if you notice, every word that comes from the mouth of God is non-physical. So ang point dito, hindi lang lagi physical yung nakakapagbigay ng pleasure sa atin. Bread gives pleasure to the body, pero in contrast, the Word of God, something that is non-physical, can also give us pleasure which will increase our happiness. So ang tanong ngayon, ano yung mga non-physical things na yan na kapag binigay mo sa spirit mo, masasarapan siya, therefore, tataas yung happiness mo. In positive psychology, there are 2 theories that answer that question. Number 1, self-determination theory, and number 2, Rip's psychological well-being theory. Because of time constraints, ang ma-discuss ko lang dito is letter A. Gagawa na lang natin ng ibang lecture yung letter B. Okay, so unahin natin yung self-determination theory. According to this theory, ang nagpapasarap, ang nagbibigay sarap sa psyche ng tao, 3. Okay? 3 ingredients: relatedness, autonomy, and competence. The more you give these 3 to yourself, nasasarapan yung spirit mo, therefore increasing your happiness. If you want a deeper discussion of SDT, self-determination theory, gumawa ako ng lecture dyan. You can just go to my YouTube channel and watch this. Ang title, Self-Determination Theory and the First Humans. I discuss in detail anong ibig sabihin ng self-determination theory. Pero mabilisan lang, daanan na rin natin yung tatlong ingredients na yan that gives pleasure to the spirit that will increase your happiness. Unang-una, relatedness. Ibig sabihin yan, kapag nasa-sense mo sa buhay mo that people like you, gusto ka nila, may nagmamahal sa'yo, may mga tao kang minamahal, marami mga tao sa paligid mo na tinatanggap ka bilang ikaw. Okay ang relationship mo sa nanay mo, okay ang relationship mo sa tatay mo, sa kapatid mo, sa mga kapitbahay mo, sa community in general, then that means meron kang relatedness. The more you sense relatedness in your life, it gives pleasure to the spirit, increasing your happiness. Ang autonomy naman, ibig sabihin yan, nasisense mo na nagagawa mo yung mga bagay na gusto mo. Nasisense mo yung freedom mo. Malaya kang nakakagalaw in your everyday life. Yung mga bagay na gusto mong gawin, nagagawa mo. Gusto mong manood ng sine, nakakanood ka ng sine. Gusto mong manood ng Netflix, nakakanood ka ng Netflix. Gusto mong maglaro ng basketball, pwede ka maglaro ng basketball. Yan. The more you feel autonomous, mas tumataas ang well-being. And last one, competence. When you sense in your life na magaling ka sa ginagawa mo, meron kang purpose, meron kang silbi as a human being. So, nasa-sense mo na magaling kang teacher, nakakapagbigay knowledge ka sa mga estudyante who are hungry for knowledge, mataas ang competence mo. Or nasa-sense mo na magaling ka sa basketball, young athletes look up to you, ina-idolize ka nila, nakikinig sila sa mga advices mo on how to play the sport, mataas yung competence mo. So again, ang sinasabi ng self-determination theory, the more you have these three, tumataas ang well-being. Okay? So the higher these three becomes, nagkakaroon ka ng well-being, tumataas ang happiness, and vice versa. Kapag mababa naman yung tatlong yan, that's the reason why ang tao nalulungkot or nagsasuffer from depression. You see the logic? Mas maganda na matataas yan, pangit ang nangyayari kapag bumababa yung tatlo. A good example of this, nung bumaba yung tatlong yan, nagkaroon ng depression, was during the pandemic. I'm sure naman marami sa inyo may ganyang experience, di ba? According to a study during the pandemic, talagang marami mga tao ang na-depress, marami mga tao tumaas ang anxiety, nag-shoot up. Bakit? You apply self-determination theory because during this time, yung tatlo, autonomy, relatedness, and competence, lagpak. All-time low. Ano ang resulta? Tumaas ang depression during the pandemic. Like for example, relatedness. Lumagpak ang relatedness ng mga tao during the pandemic. Bakit? Kasi wala tayong face-to-face interaction. That's one of the sources where you can get relatedness. When you hear in person the encouragement of your friend, kapag nag-appear kayo ng mga kabasketball mo, kapag nayayakap mo yung mga mahal mo sa buhay. Kaya lang may pandemic, delikadong lumabas, lahat tayo nakakulong sa bahay, lagpak ang relatedness. And not to mention, marami tayong mga mahal sa buhay, source ng relatedness natin, namatay because of the pandemic. Next, lumagpak din yung autonomy. Remember, autonomy is when you sense nagagawa mo yung mga gusto mo. During the pandemic, lahat ng gusto natin, halos hindi natin magawa because of the lockdown. Right? Gusto natin mag-basketball, hindi pwede. Gusto natin magtrabaho, hindi pwede. Gusto nating mag-malling, maglakad-lakad sa SM, maglakad-lakad sa Ayala Malls, hindi pwede kasi nga naka-lockdown. May virus ng delikado. So, lagpak ang autonomy. Hindi tayo malayang nagagawa yung mga gusto nating gawin. And competence in relation to the lockdown. Dahil merong virus, naka-lockdown, yung mga trabaho natin nahinto rin. So yung mga function natin in the society, marami sa atin, hindi natin nagagampanan. Nakakulong lang tayo sa bahay. Nahinto yung trabaho natin, so many people felt useless. Hindi na natin masense na magaling tayo sa ginagawa natin. Bakit? Kasi nga, hindi natin pwedeng gawin yung ginagawa natin. 'Di ba? Ang nagbibigay sa iyo ng competence yung pagbabasketball. Kasi nga, basketball player ka or basketball coach ka. Kaya lang nga, lockdown, bawal ang mga liga ng basketball. Lagpak ang competence. 'Di ba? So, during the pandemic, lagpak yung tatlong yan. Ano nangyari? Nag-lead to drop in well-being. Kaya tumaas yung levels of anxiety and depression during the pandemic. 'Di ba? Yun yung sinasabi ng self-determination theory. The higher the 3, mas maganda sa psyche. It gives pleasure to the psyche, leading to happiness. Mas mababa yung 3, low level of pleasure to the psyche, hindi nagiging maganda yung effect sa psyche. Okay? So kaya ang application dito in connection to self-determination theory, kung gusto mong masumaya, anong gagawin mo? Give pleasure to your psyche. Bigyan mo ng sarap yung psyche mo. How? Bigyan mo ng relatedness, autonomy, and competence. That's why for those of you who are listening, yan yung isipin nyo ngayon, reflection question. What are the steps that you can do right now in your life? Ano yung mga pwede nyong gawin sa mga buhay ninyo para tumaas yung relatedness, para tumaas yung autonomy, para tumaas yung competence. Yan. By doing that, you will secure the experience of well-being. Yung RIF, Psychological Well-Being Theory, again, gagawa na lang natin ang ibang lecture yan, pero yun din yung idea. Mas marami lang ingredients according to RIF para maging masaya. Personal growth, self-acceptance, autonomy, environmental mastery, positive relationships, purpose in life. Gagawa na lang natin ng ibang lecture yan, but the idea is the same. The more you increase this, bawat isa dyan, nagbibigay pleasure sa psyche, which will increase your well-being. Alright? So in closing, ano ngayon yung 2 implications that we can learn in connection to what we discussed about the eudaimonic approach to happiness? Now that we know how to give pleasure to the spirit, to our psyche, how to give non-physical things to our psyche para masumaya tayo, ano yung mga implications na to? And hopefully, in this part, makokorek ko na yung sinasabi kong malaking misconception natin about happiness. At yung misconception na yan is stopping us, blocking us from experiencing long-term happiness. Okay? Implication number 1, we have to differentiate happiness from joy. Marami mga tao kinoconsider yan na pareho lang, mali. Happiness is not equal to joy. Happiness is hedonic. Ito yung paraan. Ito yung hedonic approach. Kapag binibigyan mo ng pleasure yung katawan mo, kumakain ka ng masarap, nagpapamassage ka para ma-enhance yung senses mo, yan. Ano nangyayari? Tumataas yung level of happiness. It's very physically based. It's worldly based. While joy, ito na yung eudaimonic approach. Kailan mo na-experience yung joy? Kapag yung nakakaranas ng sarap is your spirit. This is very non-physical. This is spiritually based. That's the difference. So kapag nag-hedonic approach ka, you give pleasure to your body, ang ma-experience mo, happiness. Pero pag ang pinasarap mo, binigyan mo ng sarap yung spirit mo, eudaimonic approach, you will experience joy. And between the two, syempre, ano ang mas maganda? Ano yung i-recommend ko na i-target ninyo? Syempre, yung eudaimonic. Kasi yung eudaimonic long-term eh. When you experience joy, it's long-term. It's very internal. It's very non-situational. Ibig sabihin, hindi nakadepende sa sitwasyon mo, hindi nakadepende sa kung anong meron ka, yung happiness na nararamdaman mo. Unlike in happiness, again, kapag hedonic approach, binibigyan mo ng sarap yung laman, binibigyan mo ng sarap yung katawan mo, it's very short term, it's very external, it's very material based. Eh, ang problema, yung material things in life, number 1, it does not provide long-term happiness, it's not sustainable. Number 2, very unstable. Diba? Minsan marami kang pera, minsan konti lang pera, minsan wala kang pera. So ano mangyayari kapag drastic yung changes ng financial life mo? Yung well-being mo ganun din, nagro-roller coaster din. Naga-up and down din, which is not good. Mas maganda pa rin yung stable. Whether or not marami kang pera, whether or not may maganda kang kotse, masaya ka pa rin. That's the difference. Unfortunately, between the two, in our culture today, mas ine-emphasize yung happiness. Mas ine-emphasize yung hedonic way, hedonic approach in making the self happy. Diba? Like for example, sa mga noontime shows, very obvious na ang approach nila in making people happy is hedonic. Kasi ang binibigay nila sa mga tao para sumaya, material things. Goodies, pera, attention, excitement, so on and so forth. Kaya marami mga Pilipino ngayon, mas maraming nakaka-experience ng happiness compared to joy, which is, I think, very unfortunate given the nature of joy. Ito kasi talaga long-term, non-situational. Yan yung gusto natin, yung hindi laging taas-baba yung well-being natin. It's very sustainable. Kaya naalala ko yung experience dito ni Paul when in connection to joy. Joy is when you are able to sing in prison. 'Di ba? Kahit nakakulong ka, wala kang autonomy, wala kang relatedness, wala kang competence, pero masaya ka pa rin. Bakit? Kasi ang meron sa iyo joy, not happiness. That's why again in the book of Acts sinabi diyan na si Paul along with Silas, kahit nakakulong sila, their well-being is so high that they can still sing. Yan yung dapat natin ma-experience. Sana yan yung mas targetin natin more than happiness. Implication number 2, happiness or joy, and negative emotions can coexist. Pwedeng magsabay yung mataas na well-being sa negative emotions. And this is only possible kapag yung framework mo in understanding happiness is the eudaimonic approach. Hindi masarap sa pakiramdam o hindi masarap sa katawan doesn't mean it's not equals to hindi na masaya. Remember that. Posible lang yan kapag yung approach mo in understanding happiness is again eudaimonic. You give pleasure to the spirit. To quote one of the authors in connection to this principle, ang sabi ni Kakyopo and Bernstein, 1999, positive affect is not the opposite of negative affect. In our culture kasi, yan yung tinuturo It's either masaya ka or hindi. Pag mataas ang happiness mo, mababa ang sadness. Kapag mataas ang sadness mo, mababa ang happiness, hindi dapat ganon. That's one of the biggest misconceptions that we have about happiness. Kaya marami mga tao nagko-conclude na hindi sila masaya. Simply because meron silang mga na-experience na mga negative emotions, which is hindi ganon dapat. Pwedeng nahihirapan ka, pwedeng marami kang negative emotions na nararamdaman, pero masaya ka pa rin. Yan yung sinasabi ng eudaimonic approach. Kaya nga, yung opening verse natin connects to that idea. Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance. Rejoicing in suffering. That's possible. So habang nagsasuffer ka, masaya ka pa rin. Meron ka pa ring joy in your heart. That's very possible. Positive affect is not the opposite of negative affect. Pero again, ito will only make sense kapag yung framework mo on happiness is the eudaimonic approach. Other than the passage from Romans, may isa pa akong passage na naisip in connection to this principle. Maganda rin sa 2 Corinthians. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. Diba? Yan yung magandang well-being na dapat natin tina-target. Na mataas pa rin yung well-being natin kahit marami mga palpak na bagay na nangyayari. We can still rejoice in our sufferings, we can delight in weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and difficulties. And you will only experience this kapag yung approach mo in making yourself happy is eudaimonic. You make your spirit happy. Again, let me emphasize this. Sa popular teachings natin ngayon, which is wrong, na dapat natin i-correct, it's either you are happy or not. And that depends on physical pleasure. Kaya kung malungkot ka, ang kulang mo, kailangan mong pasayahin yung katawan mo. Hindi dapat ganun Kaya ayoko yung mga ganyang message. Yung t-shirt mo, ang sabi, I feel good. It seems like in our society today, yan talaga yung tinuturo sa atin. Feeling good is the ultimate goal for our life to be happy. If you don't feel good, then that means you're not happy. Diba? This is very hedonic. Ang danger dyan, kapag ito yung definition na in-apply mo in your life, ito yung standard mo to conclude whether or not you're happy, it messes up different aspects of your life. Diba? Again, ulitin ko, ito yung hindi tama when you equate happiness with feeling good. And then, dadagdagan pa ng popular culture, being happy means you don't deserve pain. Being happy means struggles are bad. Being happy means do whatever feels good. Nako, marami mga young people ngayon, ito yung ini-internalize. Kaya ito yung definition nila ng happiness. Tanungin mo sila, anong ibig sabihin ng kaligayahan? Ang sasabihin nila, kapag wala kang pain, kapag wala kang struggle, lahat masarap, lahat madali. Kapag nagagawa mo yung mga bagay na masarap gawin, oh my goodness. When young people internalize this kind of definition of happiness, nako, it's the wrong kind of happiness. O kaya nga in connection to that, no? Ulitin ko lang yung quote ni Kakyopo and Bernstein. Positive affect is not the opposite of negative affect. I have 2 examples to support this. Halimbawa, parenting. Tanungin mo lahat ng parents, masaya ka ba na parent ka sa anak mo? They will answer yes. Pero tanungin mo sila, masarap ba na maging parent? 2 different things. Masaya maging parent, pero hindi masarap. Maraming struggles, maraming sacrifices. Mapupuyat ka, yung sweldo mo, imbis na pasayahin mo sarili mo, ibibigay mo na lang sa anak mo. Kahit yung kakainin mo, gustong-gusto mo yung food na yon, nagka-crave ka doon, pero yung anak mo gusto rin yun, ibibigay mo na lang sa anak mo. O kaya nga yung picture dito, no? Ito yung in-upload ko dyan. This picture shows that idea. Na being a parent, yung malaking tao dito, requires a lot of sacrifices, a lot of pain for the sake of the child. Pero itong taong to, masaya siya na ginagawa niya yon. Got that? Hindi ganyan ng, hindi possible yan kapag ang definition mo on happiness is hedonic. Physical pleasure equals happiness. No physical pleasure, hindi na ako masaya. Hindi ka magiging parent niyan. Hindi ka magiging mabuting parent pag ganun. Oh. Another example would be marriage. Tanungin mo yung mga taong happily married. Are they happily married? Yes, kaya nga sila happily married, no? Pero tanungin mo, masarap ba lagi na maging married? Anong sagot? Hindi. There are also a lot of pains, sacrifices in getting married. Mahirap, nakakainis, masakit sa ulo, nakaka-high blood, pero masaya. Yan ang healthy na framework in understanding marriage. Hindi yung ginagawa mong hedonistic yung marriage. Masaya ka lang sa marriage kapag yung katawan mo nakaka-experience ng sarap. Pag wala ng sarap yung katawan mo sa marriage, i-conclude mo, hindi ka na masaya sa marriage. In fact, I would even say na ito lang yung framework. Ito lang yung framework na makakapag-sustain ng marriage. 'Di ba? I-connect mo yan sa marriage vow. Alam nyo ba kung anong pinapangako sa marriage vow? Mabigat. Anong sabi dyan? I take you to be my wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death do us part. Hindi mo magagawa yung pangako na yan kung hindi ito yung definition mo on happiness. This is the only way para tumaas yung resilience ng marriage, para hindi mabilis mag-breakdown, para na natutupad mo yung marriage vow. Wala nang physical pleasure or mababa ang physical pleasure, puro pain, puro struggles, puro sacrifices, it makes you anxious, pero masaya ka pa rin. Kapag ganun yung thinking mo, then, most likely, magtatagal ang marriage mo. Contrast hedonic. Gawin mong hedonic yan. Ito kasi yung eudaimonic, di ba? Oh. Pero gawin mong hedonic yan, i-equate mo yung happiness mo sa physical pleasure. Ang conclusion mo, hindi na masarap, equals, hindi na ako happy. Kaya nagbe-breakdown ang marriage. Kasi yung partner mo, ang definition niya ng happiness, kapag marami akong masarap na na-experience physically, pinapasakit mo ulo ko. Hindi mo hinohold yung hands ko. Hindi mo na ako kinikis, hindi mo na ako hinahag, hindi ka na masarap magluto. Therefore, hindi na ako masaya. At alam nyo naman, kapag ganyan ang na-feel ng isang tao sa marriage, kapag na-feel nila na hindi na sila masaya, in literature ang tawag dyan, mababa ang marital satisfaction or relational satisfaction, ano mangyayari? Prone na yung taong yan to commit infidelity. And infidelity breaks up a marriage. Oh. Kaya risk factor talaga yung hedonic way of thinking na yan kapag ina-apply mo lalo na sa marriage mo. Kaya nga, in connection to that, no, yung data ngayon nagsasabi, parami na ng parami ang mga tao naghihiwalay sa marriage. Nasisira ang marriage. Bakit? One of the reasons, ganito kasi yung definition nila on happiness. That marriage should be the source of physical pleasure. Kapag hindi na masarap, no more pleasure, hindi na ako masaya, most likely, pwede na akong lumipat sa ibang relationship. But please, don't get me wrong. Baka maaway na naman ako dito. Okay? This is only one of the explanations. Yung sinasabi kong ganyan. This is only one of the explanations bakit ang marriages nasisira. Of course, we know, marital issues, marriage issues, it's a complex thing. Marami pang mga factors that can be used or that can explain kung bakit tumataas yung mga couples na naghihiwalay. Hindi lang ito. Kaya nga sabi ko sa slide dito, only one of the factors. Okay? Huwag niyo kaawayin na ino-oversimplify ko yung paghihiwalay ng mag-asawa. Maraming factors. But one of the obvious factors is isa sa mag-asawa or pareho sila, mali ang understanding sa happiness in marriage. And what is that wrong understanding of happiness in marriage? When you equate your marital satisfaction on physical pleasure. Nagigets ninyo? Kaya in conclusion, no, talagang risk factor sa marriage yung ganyang framework of happiness. The hedonic framework of happiness. When all that matters to you is to feel good. Guess what? Even if you don't feel good in marriage, kahit yung katawan mo, hindi nakaka-experience ng pleasure sa marriage, kahit napupuyat yan, kahit nagugutom yan, kahit nasasaktan yan. But if you do it for the sake of your loved one, when you experience these things for the sake of your husband, for the sake of your wife, dapat nagbibigay yun ng pleasure sa psyche mo. Diba? When you sacrifice for your wife, when you sacrifice for your husband, at nakita mong masaya siya, tapos yung nakita mo na yon, nagbibigay ng pleasure sa spirit mo, magiging masaya ka. Kahit na yung katawan mo nahihirapan. Yun yung tamang framework in understanding happiness in the context of marriage. Alright? O kaya nga, in closing, how to be happy? There are two ways on how to be happy. Pwedeng eudaimonic approach, bigyan mo ng sarap, bigyan mo ng pleasure yung spirit mo, or bigyan mo ng sarap, bigyan mo ng pleasure yung katawan mo. And let me just close this lecture by saying, hindi ko sinasabi na masama ang hedonic ha. Baka marami na naman magalit dyan. Okay? Hindi ko sinasabi na masama ang pasarapin yung katawan natin. In fact, even in the scriptures, sinasabi rin naman na okay lang, i-enjoy natin yung physical things of the world. We enjoy the food. We enjoy the pleasures that this world has to offer. Okay lang. Ang masama is kapag nagkaroon na ng imbalance. Masyado ka ng obsessed, masyado ka ng na-addict sa hedonic pleasure more than eudaimonic pleasure. Just remember the fact na ang very nature natin, we are spirits. We are not our bodies. Our bodies is just what? A vessel. Lalagyan lang yan ng spirit natin na yun naman talaga tayo. So, ang implication nun, between the two, ano ang dapat mong pinaprioritize na approach in increasing your well-being? Yung eudaimonic. Mas pasayahin mo muna yung spirito mo bago yung katawan mo. Kaya nga sabi ko dito, meron akong greater than dito. Ito yung mas matimbang. Ito yung mas ginagawa mo everyday to increase your well-being. Pasayahin mo yung spirito mo. Pataasin mo yung autonomy, relatedness, competence mo. And then, once in a while, pasundot-sundot, pwede ka mag-hedonic. Kumain ka rin ng masarap. Mag-shopping ka rin. Magpamasahe ka rin. You get what I mean. Dapat lang, ito yung mas priority natin over hedonic approach. Alright? So, yan ang maikling discussion natin tungkol sa pleasure, which is again a very certain topic kapag pinag-uusapan natin positive psychology. If you have any questions, comments, other examples na hindi ko nasabi dito, ilagay nyo lang dyan sa comment section. Sana nakatulong tong lecture na to. in further understanding how happiness works. Alright? Sir Howard here. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.